Thank you. It appears that I'm a pup salesman, so hi there. So that pup which we sold, actually, I disagree with Ali a bit there in the sense that I was absolutely convinced one of the entertaining questions I would regularly ask prior to the referendum was, what's the country going to look like in 10 years' time? You get your referendum, you leave the European Union, what's it going to look like? And my answer was, I haven't a clue. I have no idea whatsoever. And that's deliberate. The whole point was putting the direction of our country back in the hands of our countrymen and women. And they could vote for Corbyn if they so desired, and they could vote for Farage if they so desired, but it would be up to them. It would not be up to some planner in a room in Brussels. And that was the whole point. And the economic argument was important, but it wasn't the point. It really wasn't the point. I seem to recall this, but if you leave the European Union, there will be a reduction in the growth of GDP by 2% over 15 years, and therefore it will be worth 100 billion. It's fantasy figures. We can't make plans for what happens in 2 years' time. The idea of having ideas and settled ideas of what our growth and how our economy would go in 10 to 50 years hence was for the birds, utterly for the birds. But that being said, or you talk about the phosphate and global Britain, I would say one of the major problems in the post-2016 position was that we were led by governments that saw Brexit as a disaster to be mitigated rather than an opportunity to be grasped. And you mentioned the fact we don't have a trade deal with the US. In 2016, Trump was elected the most pro-UK president in recent history, if not ever. And yet, European governments and our own government were so terrified of toxic Trump, we did not take advantage of that opportunity to build that free trade agreement while the sun shone. And then we have American governments that are not in favour of this country particularly, and we lost that golden opportunity, and that was entirely our fault. And so I think it is a significant problem. Now, yes, the Pacific Trade Agreement, the ANZUS Trade Agreement, and things of this sort, these are drops in the right direction, but they're not massive. However, the great European economic landmass is a reducing landmass. Its share of global trade is reducing significantly over a period of time, and I do not see that corner being turned. It is not going to be the economic tiger of future years. It just isn't. And so should we be focusing all our trading campaign and the way we're looking at future trade deals on a diminishing market? It's a big one. It's an important one. It has that gravity you mentioned. Absolutely. But should that be our focus? Well, no, we do have to look globally, whether we be very good at it or not. There I agree. We haven't been good at it. We could do better. We could do much better. And I think the India deal is on its way. It's pretty damn close now. Doing a major trading deal with China? Right now, geopolitics aside, no, you can't have geopolitics aside. Do I really want to have a major trading deal with China when China's major interest is to ensure that the West loses? I don't think we have a political class that has the backbone to do a trading deal with a country like China that has no interest in playing anything other than hardball. So I think I wouldn't say we stay out of the market when it comes to China, but we have to be very careful where long spoons time with the Chinese market and the Chinese governance and how they do trade deals. But I mean, one thing I thought was very interesting. A couple of days ago, the Süddeutsche Zeitung wrote an interesting comment about how Britain is approaching its new relations with the European Union, coming back to EU as our debate is titled. Oh, the question they asked is, what apart from nice pictures with important people in Brussels and a better tone does Keir Starmer really want from the EU? And actually, David Lammy going to the Foreign Affairs Council this week, that event you were talking about in Blenheim, it's icy, isn't it? It's not actually cake. And it doesn't seem to me to have anything substantial. They're talking about defence agreements. Well, when it comes to procurement, when it comes to defence, and Trump, as you said, his bike is working his bark, and when it comes to, bark is working his bite, when it comes to NATO, Trump was only making those points because he wanted the European Union countries to actually pay their ruddy way. Right now, Germany has improved. since the Ukraine. But by and large, there are precious few countries in Europe that are part of NATO who actually pay their way. And his threat isn't, I'm not going to defend you. It's, I want you to pay. And that's only fair, because America's been paying for our defence, the European defence, since the war, while we'll be building up a welfare state to weaken ourselves. And I'm sorry, America doesn't feel that way anymore. So, are we going back to the EU, as the question asked? Yeah, tone, yes, they want to have nice trips, they want to, ideally, Ali will be able to go around Europe and bash his decks, but I don't think it is advised. I don't think it's going to happen. And I don't think the European Union is interested in that which we have to offer in a practical sense. What can we offer? A few battalions. Well, actually, our armed force is such a mess at present. I'm not sure those battalions are any good. But other than that, they see a market, and they see a team, a negotiating team, that's probably worse than the one that went out before. So they think an opportunity is there. But beyond that, I can't see it. Thank you.